an evening in a Cotswold pub, outside in the garden perhaps. You suspect this will be noisier and significantly higher on octane emissions. I think both sides will effectively book their place in the end-of-season playoffs, whoever wins. It's tight at the top, but that's the significance today. Only one Gloucester player is wearing the same shirt he put on against Leicester. Number 12, Eliota Fuimana-Sapolo, is a hefty rock in a sea of change. Freddie Burns, Johnny May and Dave Atwood are the only other survivors from the team that started, but they'll all have different positions. Burns drops to fullback to cover for the injured Ollie Morgan. Nick Robinson returns from injury to slot in again at fly half. Between them, Gloucester and Northampton have made 24 changes to the starting 15s they picked at the weekend. Combination of fatigue and the resting agreement clubs have with England mean the Saints are exploring the outer reaches of their squad this evening. A number of Premiership's firsts for them. Ansborough and Tonks in midfield, Waller and Mercy in the front row, and Eustace as a starter against his old club. But just look at the bench to see what's held in reserve. On Saturday it was the Cherry and Whites confounding us all with the quality of their backroom boys. Tonight we're about to find out how the Saints will fare without their first choices.
Yeah, and perhaps the most telling of those changes, Nick, apart from Majati's one game when Ewan Murray was still a Saint, he and Tonga have been Premiership ever present. So a bit of a leap into the unknown for Saints with Mercy and Waller against them, two guys who've been superb this year. Adding pressure to Northampton's debutants, Doran Jones will be out to impress his new bosses and teammates alike. Despite not being first choice, the Saints' second row hardly lacks experience. Eustace is a genuine shedhead, so a special return for him. Saints will need his physicality and inside knowledge of Brown's line-out structures. Any perceived lack of quality up front for the Saints, though, is made up for in this hugely exciting back row battle. There'll be competition at every turn. Dowson starts in his favoured, though recently unfamiliar position, but the standout battle for me is Wood against the excellent Ngera.
And into the talented, good-looking players. Well, the intent of both coaches is clear through the selection of their respective halfbacks. First choice for Gloucester thanks to the return of Robinson from injury, but the Saints go for their backup pair. Geraghty hasn't started at 10 since October last year, but he has the talent to unlock any defence. This matchup in the centre favours Gloucester enormously for me. Fuimana-Sapolo and Molinar are big, strong runners. Tonks does not know how to defend at 12, and Ansborough will really have his hands full. Saints have the experience in Digger and Rehana and the size of Armstrong to call upon. Gloucester have neither of those things, but they have a hugely talented young backline. Burns, whether he's at 10 or 15, is a potential star of the future.
Yes, so much to look forward to this evening. Seasons past, 57 points would have been enough to make the playoffs. Not this time, you suspect. Callum Clark leading Northampton out for a Premiership match for the first time. Leicester and Saracens have already claimed the first two playoff berths. Two remain to be occupied over the remaining weeks of the regular season. Irish and Bath are still hoping, but Gloucester and Saints are almost there. From the northeast and Newcastle to the southwest and Gloucester, the Saints will have put in the best part of 1,000 miles over the last few days. By the time they get home this evening, it'll all be worth it if they take something from this match tonight. Perhaps they'll settle for a losing bonus point, but given what we saw Gloucester do at the weekend, who knows? And I think what Gloucester did at the weekend against Leicester is conversely playing on their mind tonight, because they see Northampton in a very similar situation. Has been feeling just like the old days again here, though, all season. The days in the 70s and 80s when Kingsholm's walls were impenetrable and unscalable. They've not lost here in the Premiership all season. 17 matches and 18 months. What a boost they'd have got from Saturday's draw, but the players have been making the point since then that even after winning the LV Cup and even after that performance against Leicester, if they don't finish in the top four, particularly in the position they're now in, they'd have to look back on this season as a failure. And that's what's raising the ante tonight. Wayne Barnes, perhaps the best in the business for one of the biggest games of the season. The playoffs, definitely the prize tonight. It's third against fourth. with the winners as good as guaranteed a place in the end-of-season bun fight. And as temperatures rise, so do the stakes.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of teams this year setting up for the kick-off with a split kick-off, putting forwards on either side. That means that the forwards can't huddle in a group, and there's a lot more space for each individual pod to mark. Much more difficult for the second rows.
Nicky Robinson goes to his right, inviting Charlie Sharples to make the first tackle, which the right wing does with pleasure.
Take a step, move. 6.
Bruce Ray-Hana just sorting things out,
Ball is in.
inviting the forwards to recycle themselves. So many players in an unfamiliar position, not wearing tracksuits at the beginning of the match. So many of these players have been used to being sprung from the bench later on in the match. Now they have the opportunity to shake the game right from the start, and that opportunity will mean no more than to people like Shane Geraghty. Here's Fuimanu Sapolu, one of the few survivors from the starting 15 at the weekend. Rory Lawson didn't start, neither did Nick Robinson. Johnny May did. He's on the opposite wing today, though, but he was shuffled into touch. Let's have another look at this kick-off, Ben.
Yeah, it's a great. Sharples is one of the best in the business at chasing the kick-off, and it's a good ploy from Northampton. Get up high, but leave it for the man, almost as a blocker behind who can take it safely.
No closing
but
now.
a knee-high bowling ball tackle from Sharples.
Thank you.
Momentarily gave Gloucester the upper hand.
Brett Sharman with the first line out of the day, taken in by Callum Clark. And then Alistair Strokosh was coming in from an offside position.
Straight in the side. Number 6, yeah. No, it's on the 5 metre.
Game that would have been played on Boxing Day, but for the snow. As much as we like the festive season and coming to Kingsholm when it's freezing, I think we're preparing the conditions this evening.
Did just go out. I'm not sure the players particularly. Perhaps they would appreciate playing in these conditions a bit more. The sun's gone in,
yours as well, okay?
and better than playing in snow. So they've certainly started brightly. Geraghty electing to keep the ball in field with his first kick.
Oh, did this go out?
Yeah, his feet have landed before the ball does. If the ball had landed before his feet, it would have been play on.
15, all play on.
A solid start for the Saints line-out. Struggled to get into the match early on Friday up at Kingston Park, but they've been driven backwards there.
Ball is available.
Cummins to Geraghty. Geraghty again involving himself, looking to find Ray-Hana. Perhaps a little bit of rustiness there as Geraghty tries to fill a role so often occupied by Stephen Myler.
I'm not sure the shed were calling it rustiness as they were telling Geraghty exactly what they thought. Great defence by Gloucester at the line-out. Particularly Atwood there in with the white scrum hat on,
please trust my
dragging it
engagement.
backwards.
Off the mark.
Robinson made a slight error in the defence from that phase, flew out of the line. It just gave Geraghty the outside line. His pass wasn't good enough.
Touch. Pause. Engage.
Rory Lawson, Scotland and Gloucester scrum half. So interesting this evening to see how Alex Waller and Tom Mercy get on against an experienced front row. Waller and Mercy both starting in the Premiership for the first time this season against Nick Wood and Paul Doran-Jones. Brett Sharman in the middle of them. He's played plenty of times this season in the absence of Dylan Hartley, but it's the men either side of him that are going to be tested.
Dorian West rates them both. It's just their lack of game time. I don't think any other props have had to work so hard as Tonga and Majati. Getting a week off. Just suggests that perhaps Dorian West isn't quite ready to trust them. But
Brett Sharman and Olivier Azam very early on.
Penalty number 3, hit on the knee.
From the same mould as Dylan Hartley, you suspect. I don't think when it comes to fuses, his is of the longest variety.
Keep your hands down, I will talk to them as well. Keep your hands
equally,
down.
I don't think there's a bigger antagonist in the game than Olivier Azam. He was a nightmare to play against. Your typical French
Don't start putting them on head guards or
hooker who
fences.
tries to wind you up at every
Both sides, I've spoken
single
to them as well.
possible.
Number 3 hit onto his knee. Must fight to stay up.
Penalty went against Tom Mercy for dropping the scrum in the front row. That appeared to be what was suggested. Line out one by Alex Brown.
It's excellent defence from Northampton as well. They tried driving, were repelled by Gloucester. Gloucester have been patient, just getting the edge now. They need to wheel out and stay straight and get those guys at the front working really hard.
Alex Brown standing up in the turret, or the crow's nest, making sure the ship's sailing in the right direction.
Came straight from the middle, turned over, stopped twice. No, it stopped
twice, and therefore the ball belongs to Northampton.
Yes, a win for Northampton. Be slightly concerned that the drive was moving forward, quite controlled by Gloucester. But it is at those driving lineouts, it's the people at the front who work the hardest. We often concentrate on the ball at the back. But they drag you through the holes, they find the space for you.
And I asked him to, it's a turnover.
It's Paul Doran-Jones. He'll be wearing a different coloured shirt next season, that coloured shirt.
Crouch!
This is really impressive this year, though, Doran-Jones, isn't it?
Touch! Pause!
Stuart Cummins is the Saints scrum half today. Dixon on the bench, taken by Easter, another one of those who will be jumping ship at the end of the season. He's off to Sale to join Steve Diamond's Revolution. Geraghty is off who knows where. We'll surely find out
That is not gone.
over the next few weeks or so. The ball was knocked on in the end. Came off Scott Armstrong. And then the penalty conceded by Saints and taken quickly by Lawson. Fuimana Sapolu.
Get on the sort.
Come by Strokosh. Fight continues behind the back of Wayne Barnes, and still the game goes on, but not now.
I think Olivier Azam could be in real trouble here. We saw Biggs sent off in the Sale Northampton game at Franklin's Gardens for charging into a fight he wasn't involved in. Albeit it was a second yellow card offence, so I wouldn't expect it to be red, but certainly could be a yellow card.
4, 2. Last scrimmage you were both involved, here you're both involved. It'll be a short evening for both of you if you continue. Knock on, scrimmage.
Two old friends, Adam Eustace and Azam.
Well, that is a headbutt.
Knock on,
No other
scrimmage,
word
green
for it. He
ball.
might have a head guard on to protect him, but that is a headbutt. Boom. That, I'm afraid, could be the end of Olivier Azam's season.
It will be the end of Olivier Azam's Gloucester career. It's not entirely clear
Okay,
whether
we'll hold.
he'll be here next season, enjoying his testimonial season. 35 now. Suspect we may not have heard the last of that.
Crouch! Touch! Pause! Engage! Ball is already gone.
Cummins to Geraghty, who again with care kicks and beautifully kicks. One bounce into touch. Freddie Burns was shepherding, but it was to no avail.
Strange watching Geraghty in his own half kick his first 3 pieces of possession. Kicked them very, very well, but he's obviously under instructions. Must be hard to tamper back that attacking flair that he's got.
Open the gap, please. Open.
Started at fly half in the Premiership for 6 months, which brings its own problems. It's
Move.
maybe a little bit easier to kick early on than it is to launch attacking moves. Anyway, instruction or not, that's what Geraghty has chosen to do. Let's see if they challenge this Gloucester line-out. Well, they did. Mark Sorensen rising highest.
It's been touched by the opposition.
But Lawson gets the ball away. Taken by Armstrong and taken well. Sees off the challenge of Johnny May to free it up for Cummins. This is Geraghty. Here goes Rehana. Tonks is outside him. Ansborough a little bit further wide, and it's Ansborough who's coming back inside. Delicious little combination, Tonks and Ansborough this evening. They offer something entirely different to Downey and Clark, which is the 12 and 13 we normally see. Fuimana Sapolo with one of the first big hits, or legitimate big hits of the evening.
It was an excellent carry from Waller. It was a big hit, but he still kept his legs going, got through the gain line.
Taken on by Ansborough. His first game for a while, having injured himself in the Six Nations. First time Northampton have been in Gloucester's 22 in the opening 10 minutes of the match. As we search for our first points of the match, and Geraghty finally doing what he does most naturally and taking defences on, as does Ray Harner. Saw him burrowing under Newcastle's defence for the try on Friday. Geraghty taken on by Clark. Try should be scored. Rolling over by Waller.
Come on.
Well, he looked like he got it.
Jeff Barnesy, try, yes or no?
And it's that man Waller again. What a start. Two great carries, good scrummaging.
It's the timing of the pass that makes it. Geraghty comes around the corner and delivers an absolutely sublime pass. And he rolls over well for the try. Geraghty takes the ball to the line so well, delivers unbelievably good timed passes every single time he touches the ball.
Waller does really well.
Yeah.
Just to hold possession as it's spilling in his hands, and it's allowed. Very close to losing that, but it's between his legs, so it's okay. And there's no double movement because the momentum was still there throughout the whole process.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
Jeff Warren's our television match official in the
Okay,
trucks
do I need to wait or
outside,
we okay?
and I think we know what his decision is going to be. First time in the 22, and the young lad who's Northampton born and bred has a moment to remember. Enjoying a fine debut season in the Premiership. He's overtaken Reggie Dreyer as Soani Tongawea's deputy, and we can see why. He's really made an impact early on. Oh, it flirted with the posts. Suggested early on that it wasn't interested, then came back in, but not enough. It's 5-0.
Guys, just have a look at the timing of Geraghty's pass. He delays, and stop there. All he's doing is he's splitting these two defenders. It's brilliant play, absolutely sublime pass, creating a try.
Restart was taken in by Adam Eustace. Waited until this stage of the season to earn his first Premiership start against the club he played 161 times for. Geraghty, the long hoof. Robinson was backpedaling. We'll keep a close eye on him. Certainly appeared to be troubled by the hamstring in the warm-up, but this is Ray Harner, who will test his defensive capabilities now. Taken on by Sharman. He might have used Geraghty, but in the end decided to go backwards to Sorensen. Geraghty was certainly the flatter option. Ray Harner, that was flat, looking for Armstrong. He was knocked on by Armstrong. Saw his Premiership debut earlier in the season.
Come this side, Foxy, making sure Green hits high. One doesn't
scoring plenty for the Wanderers, Saints' second 15.
Northampton had a bad weekend last weekend.
Hit high, don't hinge it.
They didn't start well against Newcastle, and then the results went against them. But their so-called backup players have stood up here. It started massively well. Perhaps Gloucester thought they were going to be an easy pushover.
He's watching.
Really bright start from the Saints.
Crouch!
I know, talking to one or two of the Gloucester coaching staff before the game, that was the fear.
Engage!
Particularly given what had happened at Welford Road, they were patting themselves on the back a little bit too prematurely, and they've got a game on their hands
Three
here.
hits straight, number one.
The other problem they've got is because a lot of them are unknown, their analysis would have been really difficult this week. Different line-out combinations, different scrum analysis.
Three hits straight, number one.
Nothing to get your teeth into.
To a certain extent, do you not use the same analysis irrespective of the personnel? Did the moves not tend to stay the same?
Some of the moves might do, but it's the actual abilities of the player, where their weaknesses are, particularly in the scrum. There's no point going in with a strategy to defeat Tongawear and Majati when they're not playing.
Yeah, you're perfect, thank you.
Sure, we'll see Tongawear and Majati at some point
Don't
during the
run up
match,
the middle.
or maybe we won't. And how well the other boys are doing. Taken in again, beautifully by Brown. Oh, and the breakthrough is by Tim Molinar. That's a response. Wow, that's a response. Not scored many tries this season, Molinar, but that will be one of the most memorable.
And I don't think you'll see a better timing and angle of run than this one from Tim Molinar. The pace that he hit the ball. Here he is, off Robinson, comes back against the grain, spots the hole, Geraghty's attracted. And a great inside-outside swerve to lose the fullback.
We were saying it before the game, Ben, Tonks hasn't played inside centre. It is the most difficult position on the field to defend at. You cannot leave your fly half at any time, because that is what happens if you do.
Scored at Welford Road on Saturday. And again, some wonderful free-flowing rugby off first phase possession. And Gloucester are ahead, courtesy of Freddie Burns' conversion. Yes, we've been talking about Tonks and Ansbro and the potential they offer in attack, but defensively as well, they've got to be absolutely solid against two players of the size of Molinar and Fuimanu Sapolu.
Oh, do you not think Geraghty got caught in a little bit?
He has to defend the inside channel first off the back of the line out, and he did that well. The problem you've got is if your centre leaves you, you're isolated not only on the inside but also on the outside from line-outs.
Tom Wood takes the ball to ground.
All feet.
15 minutes gone, and we've already had a dozen points and the promise of more to come. Here goes Eustace. Driven backwards, but hung on to
really
possession.
good presentation of the ball, as far away from the Gloucester players as possible, making it easy for Commons, but huge hit from Impera.
Well, I think Narroway was keen to work on the effect of that hit from Ngera, but couldn't.
Entry.
The technique here, low, in at ball height, making the offload impossible, and then because he drove him back so far, Northampton players had to cheat, come in at the side to clear him out.
It's back in the starting 15 for Andy Hazel. Ngera had his best game of the season in the defeat at Sale a week or so ago. Doesn't come in touch, however.
Inside.
Ray Harner. Inside is 22, as Wayne Barnes told us. We're talking about changes in the Gloucester midfield. We'll have to do without him between now and the end of the season. He's had an ankle operation to make sure he's ready for the World Cup in September and October.
Yeah, you stay there. Line's yours, fellas. Don't close.
Who's perhaps a little bit fortunate to still be on the pitch. Given the headbutt earlier on Eustace. Again, flipped off the top by Atwood. The line-out's working well for both sides. Sharples releasing the try scorer Molinar. And then another enormous tackle. Harner on that occasion. Robinson.
Back man.
Driven forward by Azam. Here's Fuimanu Sapolu. Just as the temperature was rising, the knock-on. We're seeing some enormous wallops early on in this match, and this was another one.
He's such a powerful guy. I mean, massive hit, great technique, lifts him up, doesn't tip him over. And then what was really impressive was his speed to get back to his feet and get back into the defensive line. As soon as he got free, he was back in his defensive position. Didn't gloat about his tackle.
Austin.
Let's have a close look at the try from up high. And it gives you a great shot and a great angle. This is what I mean, first off, by leaving your 10. That's too far away from a line out. Now look at his body position, look. Molinar's already picked his line, he's already heading in there, but Tonks' shoulders are facing out. He can't get back to that tackle. That inside channel needs to be defended by Geraghty, and Molinar does the rest. You can't blame Geraghty for that. That was not his fault. That is a 12 playing out of position, who's normally a 15. Very, very hard to play there. I can't stress how hard it is. Ben's shaking his head because he thinks he doesn't jump or push.
No, I just think that the back rower had him, and Geraghty turned in to help the back rower out when he could have just stayed. He almost turned his shoulders infield
Yeah, but Ben, if you're coming up as a unit, you want your 12 with you on your shoulder, then you can close the space. If you don't close the space, you open up the inside channel too much. Trust me, I've played there a few times.
Either way, it's a good start to the game. We've got half time to carry this on.
Inside, inside. Hands away! Take a step, 6, 8.
Cummins still marshalling the forwards in front of the ball to provide the protection for the pass to Geraghty, who took his eyes off it, perhaps concerned that Brown was hunting him down. And the ball is still in play, but he will come back for the knock-on.
Well, I don't think Geraghty wanted this pass, and he was shouting at Cummins not for it. Takes his eyes off it, hits his chest.
Went forward, then hit his leg, and then went backwards.
But he wasn't going to catch that.
No worries.
We're in a straight line looking at his face.
Position of plenty of promise for the Cherry and Whites.
It's a real test for that relationship between Geraghty and Tonks.
Penalty to the Cherry and Whites.
Number 3, stay up, don't twist in.
Tom Mercy, who's having more problems on the tight head side of the scrum for Saints so far. That's Alex Waller.
Not now.
Busy surfing the pine for much of the season, but here's a start ahead of Majati rather than more time on the bench, and he's you can see the quizzical look on his face. 3 of those penalties conceded have come from the scrums.
Longer hold, okay? Next scrummage is going to be a longer hold.
Freddie Burns, first choice kicker this evening.
Fellas, remember it's a line, please. Remember it's a line.
To largely protect the hamstring of Nicky Robinson, and also because of his accuracy. 5-0 down, 10-5 up. Freddie Burns with the kick.
Yeah, you can see Tom Mercy going in on the angle. Great view from above. He's coming right across. You can see his hips are coming out. His head's going in onto Azam. That just forces Wood down. Good positioning from Wayne Barnes.
Midway through the first half on the most beautiful West Country evening. And the match
Number 5, look at the ball, not the man.
Mark Sorensen wasn't
for the ball.
Looking at the ball.
Just went straight into the man.
This looks like Gloucester have steadied the ship after some early wobbles, but they will know that Northampton have some cavalry over the horizon, should they need them.
Here we are, fellas, nice gap.
Yeah, I think the mindset for some of those Northampton players will be stay in touch. And if you're still in touch with 20 minutes to go, might well see some of the more prominent names of the Saints.
Plenty of movement in the line-out. It was looking for Narroway. It wasn't perfect, and such was the imperfection that it forced the knock-on.
Knock-on from 9.
That is as good
from 9,
as that clean take from the Northampton players at the line-out. Just putting that much pressure on that it just affects the delivery down to scrum half. Just thrown at his feet, knocks on, and it's an equal turnover.
Long hold on me, please. Crouch. Touch. Pause. Engage.
That's better from the Saints scrum.
What a response.
Perfect, good buying, go
from Mercy.
Don't stop, you know we got them on the hill.
From Saracens this season. This is his first Premiership start. First Premiership start for a long time, since October, for his fly-half Geraghty. He was a regular for Saracens. He's hardly wet behind the ears, Tom Mercy, but beginning to find his feet now.
Red, or take a step. That's my mark. Yeah.
Taken in.
Red 1 pulling it down. Red 1.
Advantage being played against Wood for pulling them all down.
Geraghty,
Touched
interesting.
as
The
well, touched
midfielders
as well.
flying through. Ansborough was there and manages
5.
in the end to force Lawson to the floor. And again, it was Geraghty opening the
Your
envelope.
advantage, fellas.
An intriguing scrum
Captain,
now. We've
would
seen
have been
what
a collapse
Northampton
more.
did in
This
their
is your
last one.
advantage, 5 metres.
Little
Would
chip.
have been a collapse more. 5 metres. Yeah.
Touched in
5
flight,
metres
so
scrum.
Ansborough was
There's your
onside.
advantage.
5 metres out. Northampton got the shove last time.
I know I've said it all season about Geraghty. I just can't understand why he's not on the team. He's got brilliant touches. He troubles defences.
Crouch.
His kicking, maybe. There's an argument for that. But he's a player.
Pause.
Free kick. See no reason why they shouldn't just reset the scrum. What a delicious moment for him as well. It's almost as if he's in his favourite leather armchair.
Captain.
Got the choices. Everything is up to him. Does he go left? Does
That's
he
2
go
free
right?
kicks. Next might be a penalty. Okay.
The toughest thing is that Gloucester's defence have absolutely no idea.
Crouch. Touch. Pause. Engage.
Cummins feeds a scrum that's becoming more and more impressive. Controlled at the base by Easter. Another penalty.
Stay in the scrum. They won the hit. You came out. No penalty, Captain.
Interesting on that last scrum. Wayne Barnes on the other side this time. And just certainly
Thanks,
Mercy
Dixon.
ended up with his hits pointing out, his head pointing in. I'm sure we'll have a look at the replay in a bit and see whether it was Wood who forced him that way, and that's why the penalty went. Wayne Barnes saying that they lost the hit, which would suggest that that would become your tactics for the rest of the game. Win the hit and you're likely to get a penalty.
It's his delicious little chip over the defence that set the alarm bells ringing, and his penalty that pulls the Saints within 2 points.
About the same as you, I reckon.
It's the other side of that. You can see how they end up with Sharman stood up on the wrong side of Azam.
Robinson was wrong with the restart, taken by Armstrong, the rookie right wing this evening, in the absence of Chris Ashton. Ashton not even in the squad. He's been given a rest before the trip to the Medeski Stadium on Saturday. It's all about player management at this stage of the season, particularly when you've got 3 matches in 9 days. Cummins happy to clear the box kick into touch. South African scrum half, born in Cape Town.
Okay, there we are. Thank you, 5. Just hold
He's
that.
enjoyed
Yeah.
plenty of game time this season.
Just hold. Just hold.
And for the injured Lee Dixon. Much of what we've seen since Christmas. Sam throws and
Stay 15.
athletically stretching to his limits. Alex Brown. I mean, replacement for the absent Jim Hamilton today.
Gloucester have had really good control against a good defensive effort by Northampton. They've stopped once, so they've only got one more go.
Lawson to Robinson. Molinar back inside to Robinson. Taken on. Wonderful kick through from Freddie Burns. Sharples chasing it down, who is quick and quicker than anything in Northampton's defence. match at Welford Road on Saturday. Beginning to get the feeling that this might be something similar. What a game we've got at Kingsholm.
Well, you've gone to the TMO just to check the grounding, I presume.
Unbelievable straight line pace, wasn't it?
You've got to feel for Bruce Rayana.
Well, Bruce had to turn, to be fair to him, but he did have a good 15-metre start on him.
Looked like he was on a
Sharples was
travelator.
flying down there.
Thank you.
Wait for the roar. Many other teams would miss the likes of James Simpson-Daniel, but Charlie Sharples has come in and really played his part. And he is now Gloucester's top scorer in the Premiership this season with his 5th. Sapolo and Sinbad both remain on 4.
This backline is so exciting for Gloucester, though.
Freddie Burns prodded kick beyond the defence that had Sharples on his way. How good a young player is Freddie Burns. Burns and Sharples and Johnny May. The future looks very bright down here.
It's a perfectly weighted little phase round the outside and a little chip forward, and look at the pace of Sharples. You can see Bruce Rayana doesn't know what to do. Does he face yellow card for taking him out? Or does he just let him go past him?
Well, the space was created on the outside by Ansbro stepping into the tackle. If he stays off that tackle, they've got 3-on-3 on the outside, and Rayana doesn't have to turn, he can just hit.
Oh, now this is Narroway joining in the fun. Angera. Molinar adds the muscle and takes them into Saints territory. Narroway again, feeding Lawson. This is Alistair Strokosh, the burly Scottish enforcer. The slightly smaller Scotsman, Lawson, feeds Narroway. To Foymana Sapolo with the clever stuff trying to free up Molinar. The ball was knocked on. And now Northampton are getting involved, and Rayana hoping to make the most of the quick line out. But Angera was on him quickly, and anyway Wayne Barnes' whistle had gone. But what about this from Narroway?
Superb step from Narroway here, just to take himself away from the defender, allow the offload to Angera, keeps the move alive. And then another good pass by Narroway. But there was a time where you'd come to Kingsholm and the last thing that you'd be saying is, whatever you do, don't let the game get loose, because these guys are amazing.
Somebody who might be observing the Easter Waldrum England number 8 debate with some interest. How far is Luke Narroway off from being part of the debate, do you think?
He's in your top 3, isn't he, I would say. He's had an excellent season, really turned it around. At the start of the year, he was a bit fragrant. He threw the ball around a bit too much, took too many chances. Now he's very precise. He makes breaks, he makes very few mistakes, which is what Martin Johnson will be looking for.
Did you just say he was a bit fragrant?
Yeah, well, I smelled him.
Smelling him?
Yeah. Is that the wrong word?
On my engagement, gentlemen.
I've no idea what word you were looking for.
No, fragrant. Yeah, it's the right word.
What, smelly?
He was a bit smelly.
Yeah,
Smelly.
Well, it's better than calling him smelly or an idiot, Ben.
Yeah.
The top analysis right here on ESPN.
Come out of it smelling like roses.
Fire the arm through, don't bind on
I'm
the arm.
tempted to say something serious about Narroway, but I won't bother. We'll
Let's just say he's a good player. He's really improved throughout the season.
Very good
He's
player.
got a good chance of going to the World Cup. If I was Martin Johnson, I'd probably pick him.
His own aftershave range coming out as well.
Engage!
Half an hour gone.
On the floor, both on the floor.
One or two concerns about the fitness still of Nicky Robinson. Tom Boyce continues to warm up with some interest. If Robinson does go, we assume that Freddie Burns might go to 10. Perhaps Sharples to full back, Boyce onto the wing. All conjecture for the time being, but we continue to be on hamstring watch for Nick Robinson, as he apparently prefers to be known these days.
Touch. Pause. Engage.
to Geraghty. Fired away off the left boot of Tonks. But only fired as far as the young starlet Freddie Burns. So much confidence coursing through his young veins, and you can see it. Managed to get the ball away to May, who is not slow himself. In fact, he's probably the quickest player in Gloucester's squad. Northampton's defence was up quickly, but not enough to seriously disrupt them. Driven forward by Dave Atwood, only forward who started the match at Leicester. And then the penalty comes.
First man now, stayed on the ball.
Take a bow, skipper Callum Clark. Gloucester totally on the front foot, manages to get in. Late offload to Wood.
Nick Wood was the final player to get off the floor. Captaining the side today. So a little bit unlucky for the yellow card after the late tackle on Jimmy Gopperth on Friday, but all that's in the past now. He'll be enjoying skippering the club he's
Keep that gap there.
excelled for this season. Tom Boyce is being prepared to come on, and we're hearing that Nicky Robinson is about to come off. Major operational changes in Gloucester's management system.
What you got on?
Cummins to Geraghty, back inside to Ansborough. What an impact he made on the test scene after his debut for Scotland this year.
Just check.
Joining up with Shantaine Happy at London Irish next season.
Not the side too!
This is Wood. How's Geraghty going with this one? He decides that Ansborough is the best option, and Clark chips through.
Inside.
Freddie Burns inside his own 22. Taken in by Geraghty. Ray Harner. A number of tacklers were up there, but not enough to win back possession.
Still in. Still in. Ball is out.
They're happy to keep it tight for the time being. Roger Wilson amongst those given a breather today. Beautifully taken by Fuimana Sapolu. Robinson opts not to kick off. Could perhaps be a leg that's beginning to trouble him more and more. This is Atwood, wearing the blue, black and white of Bath next season. This is Azam. It's taking place in and around the two 10-metre lines for the time being. Burns got the ball away wondrously to Robinson. How much pace has he got? He's got an absolute army on the right-hand side. If he could have found the ball to Narroway without the number 8 dropping it.
You could see there Robinson just didn't have anywhere to go with his leg. Didn't have any extra gears. Brilliant play by Freddie Burns.
Can you talk to Green too about holding people down after the tackle?
Tom Boyce is on.
It's coming here, mate.
And poor old Nick Robinson, who is back
Don't give away a silly
for the first time in a month after struggling with a hamstring problem.
Look, and that's why I've just spoken to them as well.
And I just wonder whether this might be the last time we see Nick Robinson in a Gloucester shirt, because he's got the hamstring problem, games are running out, and he's off to Wasps at the end of the season. Let's hope not, but that might be that for Gloucester and Robinson.
It could actually be the making of Freddie Burns, couldn't it? It would be a tough decision for the coaching staff, but if their hand's been forced by injury, this guy looks to start, Freddie Burns.
Tom Boyce is at the other end of his career. Appeared to be meandering to a tame conclusion not so long ago, but he's been wrong Travelling back to the years recently. But opposite ends of the experience spectrum, Austin Burns one end and Voice the other.
Yeah, Voice lined up at fullback as well. I thought Sharples would drop in there. I'm quite surprised by that.
His Voice there at the moment, and it's he who comes forward to try and field the kick from Geraghty. He was being balked by Ansbro. Advantage is being taken wonderfully by Gloucester. Johnny May again offering himself in midfield. This is Voice, this is Molinar. Fuimanu Sapolu got the ball, and then the tackler at the same time, who was Armstrong.
Good hands. Good hands.
Good offload, but again, few of the Gloucester players just been overrunning some of the offloads. Slight bit more depth than you think. Could be carving Northampton up here.
Good man, Rousey. Good hands as well. That cam was worth about 50,000 quid. Fortunately, Rousey's worth significantly less. But both he and the camera are still working. Who then turned somewhat mysteriously to see what was going on.
That is a disaster for those Northampton forwards.
Gaps, please, Green. I'll give you time to adjust.
Box kit doesn't even barely makes it to the 22. Suddenly it's all defence again.
Inside.
In a similar position where Gloucester scored their first try through Molinar.
Got 15.
All taken at the back.
Clearly more.
They've built the platform. Freddie Burns, Fuimanu Sapolu. We know what he can do from here. Oh, what about that tackle? Really needed to be made. Ansbro was at the centre of things, but there are still issues here. And now there are defensive issues for Northampton. Still problems. Diggin chasing hard. Continues to chase. Johnny May went down first. Wayne Barnes there quickly. It's coming back on Gloucester's side of the fence though, and that was very well worked by Johnny May. And, a lot of pressure from Diggin.
Come back.
Another huge tackle from Bruce Rayana. Turn the ball over for Northampton.
No touch.
Cleared into touch
Play
by
on.
Lawson. Taken quickly. Well, you'd be forgiven for thinking, particularly with the weather we have, that this is an early season game, not an end of season game. Such has been the energy from both sides and the ambition shown by both sides. But for little knock-ons like that latest one from Callum Clark, we could have had a cricket score.
It was a crucial moment. Just feel if Northampton had scored there,
Yeah, he's going to look.
they'd go into the half-time. They've been cut apart on a few occasions, but thinking, right, we're in this, and we've got the big boys to come later.
9. On my engagement, gentlemen. Crouch!
After 20 minutes, when Gloucester were getting on top, you thought to yourself, actually, we probably won't see the Northampton bench if they carry on. But now, this game's there for the taking.
Stay bound.
That was very close to being fed at the scrum.
Always in.
Burns to Voice. Fabulous clearing kick. Who with more Premiership experience than Tom Voice. Really become to be appreciated by the King's Home set as well. They made the
Give
move
yourselves
from
room, Red. Don't get there. Just close the gap.
Wasps after winning all those trophies.
Off that gap.
Adams
Off
part.
it. Off it or a free kick you.
A real Indian summer to his career. And yet end up with a place in the playoffs and perhaps a place even at Twickenham. We will see. The line-out battle continues. And Easter continues to make a nuisance of himself. Gloucester still have the final tilt at glory in the final 30 seconds of the first half.
Vital steal at the line-out.
Burns. Sapolu. Penalty coming. And Gloucester might think that will do. 10 seconds to go. Shot at the post for 3 points, and then that would be the break.
The possession all came from this line-out steal from Atwood.
Thank you very much.
Zam in there, narrow way, just to secure the ball. They get the ball to midfield.
Guys, if you have a close look, though, there's a big opportunity here to go through. You think Furumayona's going to go through the hole. Look at the defensive hole. If Freddie Burns had just followed that himself, kept hold of the ball, didn't pass that ball back inside, he's walking under the posts. And I tell you who else had seen it as well. Another centre who knows how to spot a gap. He just follows his nose. He ends up running in a lovely little curve.
That's half-time, yeah. Unless it hits the post. I want to keep it up and have a go. Right. We'll have a look.
Oh no. Disappointing end to a half that otherwise has been full of promise and pace and ambition. Alex Waller's early score put the Saints ahead, but Tim Molinar and Charlie Sharples. But he gives it a go there, and
calling me sick now, but I'm actually all right now.
Lovely, that's good to hear. Thanks for your time, Jim. Thanks. Okay, I'll hand you back to Nick now in commentary.
thanks, Sarah. Yeah, good news for Gloucester. This is how it stands at the moment. If Gloucester win, and it's a 9-point gap potentially between themselves and Irish in 5th place, maybe 10 if they can get another couple of tries. We're hearing that there are no changes to either side at half-time, so the bench that Jim Hamilton was talking about waits to be utilised, particularly Northampton's with so many star names on it. At what point will Northampton call on those resources? Lawson.
Hand away. Advantage is over. Pressure, pressure.
Yeah, go on. Freddie Burns. This is Ray Harner, who caught our eye as much for his big hitting ability as much as for the running ability, but he gives it a go there, and tackled by the man who showed him the afterburners a little earlier, Charlie Sharples. This is Easter, runs into Narroway. Cummins to Geraghty, rebounded off for Zam. Gathered in by Eustace. Cummins back to Geraghty.
Outside and taken back.
Here goes Burns. Saw exactly how much promise this young man had in the first half, and he was collided by Woods, ran into by Woods. Wayne Barnes is unmoved by it. Both are now back on their feet. In fact, Burns is up before Tom Wood is, but it's the kind of challenge that sometimes gets the players' ires raised, but
There's nothing wrong with it, as you'll agree.
nothing wrong with it, according to Wayne
He didn't
Barnes.
move off his line. I think that's probably what saved him. He just jumped straight up in the air in his spot. Obviously caught his ankle.
It's a bit like your pantomime Villa when you ran into that dummy runner.
Certainly borderline, but if you make a movement off your line, he just jumps straight up in the air.
In the end, it was Wood who hurt himself more than Burns. Let's see how.
He catches his trailing leg, doesn't he?
Yeah. So there's no long-term harm done. Not sure that Akapusi Ngera was the intended recipient, but that's where it ended up.
Stolen first man.
And it's been stolen. This is Waller. Northampton up and running.
Just a
right
slight
at the
concern
start of
for
the match.
Northampton. They're starting to lose their own line-out ball.
Cummins to Geraghty. This is Ray Harner. Armstrong outside him. Who is Swift. That's Glos, who's put under pressure.
Always inside for
Between them, Rory Lawson and Freddie Burns complete the clearance.
It was actually excellent play by Royce. He got back to his feet and he got in field. It didn't matter that he lost ground. He got in field and he stayed on his feet.
That's me. You come off it, I'll give you time to adjust.
So back to his feet, in field, and then stays on his feet, which allows all his support players to get back with him. Molenaar does a really good job with the first one. They each take one player each. Just move them away, and then a clearance of sorts. But still a good attacking position for Northampton.
Line out needs to be right though, and this time it was. This is Geraghty taking in the defenders. Quick ball now, used by Cummins to Wood. Any sign of the injury a couple of minutes ago. Cummins again, this is Easter. Sharman, oof, the sound of another big hit, so much so that it dislodged the ball from the mitts of Sharman and was taken on by Molenaar. There goes Eliota Foimana-Sapolo. Akapusi Ongera thought twice about using Narroway, but in the end Burns did use the skipper. And then Johnny May is tackled on the 10-metre line. Ball's gone loose. Oh, dear me. How well have they done to win that ball back? Narroway again. Make sure the ball is returned on the right side. Strokosh, Foimana-Sapolo, Azam. Taken on by Voice. Oh, that was nice. This is Sharples. Afterburner's on, but he's got two defenders to beat. And in the end, a combination of Tonks and Diggin proved too much for him, but ball remains in Gloucester's possession. Freddie Burns lining up to the left. Someone needs to straighten it. Foimana-Sapolo was the one who did. Ball taken on instead by Alex Brown. Ferocious start to this second half.
Brilliant tackle by Tonks. Last gasp.
Foimana-Sapolo again steps back inside. Lawson tried to go himself.
13 offside advantage.
Joe Ansborough was caught offside, so the penalty's coming. Nick Wood to within a couple of metres. Strokosh driving even closer.
Held up, no advantage, penalty over there, 13 offside.
Everything explained very nicely by Wayne Barnes.
Offside 13, penalty.
Strokosh was the final one to try his luck and get the ball over the line, but really the pace of Gloucester's attack was something to behold.
See a penalty here. 13 offside.
Great rugby to watch.
13 was offside on the blind side, so your penalty.
But it all comes from the time that Northampton had turned the ball over. There it is. No one knows it's there. Would have been the oddest spot the ball competition ever. First to react, Gloucester, and then they attack from there. And what an attack it was. End up with a penalty 5 metres out.
Lawson did so well, didn't he, to get round.
It's the Rogues Gallery.
Fellas,
Foden,
okay, good to go.
Myler,
Good to go.
Tongawea, Majati,
Okay,
Laws,
ready then?
Hartley, Dixon.
Just gonna leave here. Penalty 13
Scraping the
offside
barrel
on the
this
blind
week,
side.
clearly.
Okay, watch on. Offside.
Fascinating balance for Jim Mallander and Dorian West and Paul Grayson to think about, but for the time being they've got some defensive thoughts.
Gloucester
No obstruction, Gloucester.
opting to
no
go
obstruction.
the line-out drive instead of the 3 points. It's a wise decision.
Ball won by Atwood.
It's a shift drive. Just need to get that patience back again. Tackles coming in from the Northampton players.
Southampton have taken it to the deck. Lawson goes fishing for it, finds it. Alex Brown provides the impetus, perhaps the magic from Burns. Back inside from Foimana-Sapolo, and the tackle was a good one from Tonks. Molenaar escaping the clutches of Geraghty. Strokosh again to within a couple of metres. Lawson feeds it wide. Burns goes on his own. taken the right decision for much of this match, and as much as they've got the penalty off Bruce Reihana, I'm not sure whether Freddie Burns, given the opportunity a second time, would have taken the same decision.
Famous butcher of hesitation.
Go for goal.
Just hesitated,
As soon as your team
thought
comes
about
on,
going himself, then realised
goes
it's
to
the
goal,
wrong
okay.
decision, but it's too late to offload to the overlap outside.
Line, fellas, line's still yours.
On this
Line's
occasion,
still
they
yours.
are going for
The line.
the posts and the potential 3 points.
Wayne, we'll just keep working on those guards for us,
How
please.
long will
Thank
it
you.
be
Number.
before he
Just the
brings
green
the
guards on the
cavalry
left,
on?
well up pitch when Gloucester were going forward. No
Is there a
effect at
point
the
in
time.
his mind where he thinks actually we might not bring them on and just sacrifice the match and save everyone for London Irish at the weekend? The gap is now a significant one. It's 12 points. Gloucester 20, Northampton 8. Another Freddie Burns penalty.
You say that, but most teams, particularly knowing Durham West, would do a bit of contact on a Tuesday anyway. So why not give them 20 minutes and that's their contact session, because they'll never get that back. They won't be able to do contact against these guys that have played tonight this week.
That's 2 quick penalties against you now. Yeah. And offside.
With a shallow restart, taken in by Brown. Lawson to Narroway, and Guerra was offering himself, but Burns was the one who was used instead. This is Molinar running with one hand, fires the ball out ballistically to Johnny May. An extraordinary pass. Burns, boot to ball, spiralling down the throat of Diggin. Barely seen Diggin in an attacking sense. Happy enough just to fire Burns back into his own 22. And Tom Boyce, with one of the sweetest kicks in the game, takes us back up towards halfway. He thinks it should have been further. They're still in Gloucester's half.
It was actually a perfect kick from Boyce because he managed to get it into the first row of the seats, which means there's no chance of Reihana attacking with a quick throw and letting this Northampton line out that's been under a bit of a pressure towards the middle half of the game.
Another test of Brett Sharman's accuracy, being expertly schooled by Dorian West, but he's on his man on that occasion. Marquis step. Far from foolproof, that Northampton line-out. Cummins gathered up by Ungera, and Ungera and co winning the ball back. Now then, real opportunities. Fuimanu Sapolo, this is Molinar. This was across quickly though. For half a second it looked as if Gloucester had the numbers there and perhaps the space. As it is, they'll need to content themselves with the penalty. Burns hinting that he wanted to take it quickly.
Everyone off their feet.
Turnover from Ungera.
Be careful now. 3 quick penalties. Yes, only 3. Huh?
Deciding, having previously gone for the post, that this time they'll go for the line-out. Northampton have conceded those penalties in quick succession, which will be a concern.
And Gloucester obviously deciding to go for the bonus point rather than get 2 converted tries ahead.
That's a bonus point win would take them 10 points clear of London Irish with 2 games to play. Azam is at the back of that cherry and white chariot. He's still there, he's on his own. Azam will score! The debate about whether he should be on the pitch is perhaps for after the match. For the time being, it's Azam's try and it's Gloucester's third, and now they're beginning to pull away. And now we wonder when Northampton's replacements will arrive.
Well, Wayne Barnes has spotted Olivier as presenting the match ball to his opposite number. They've been at each other all game. And after that try...
You don't have to go up and tap their two on the head with the ball, OK? Be careful, OK? Back you go. Captain's example. We're leading today. If that happens again, you'll have to...
Let's see if we can see what that was all about.
Yeah, that's about that.
And here's what caused it.
It looks like he should have offloaded there, but he just got the leg drive and the reach. Quality finish.
Getting a glimpse of Gloucester's future here. No question that Freddie Burns will be their first choice 10 next season. Not sure who'll be their first choice hooker, but Olivier Azam has just scored their latest try.
Really good control again from the Gloucester drive. Northampton had to commit more numbers to stop it, and as soon as they did, left a little hole around the outside for that man to exploit.
35 now and still seemingly enjoying the sport as much as he ever has. Burns again. Easter allowing the ball to bounce, not once but several times, and eventually it came to heel. Ray Harner. Interesting, ambitious, might yet work. This is Armstrong. And Geraghty involving himself, and the ball was spilt, and Gloucester are beginning to get a taste for this. The tackle made by Sorensen, just halting them temporarily. May, this is Brown. Lawson again, Fuimana Sapolu. Most of the troops are on that far left-hand side, including the try scorer Azam. I don't think he fancies being brought off in this match. He's loving it. Voice, who came on early on as a replacement for the injured Nick Robinson.
Backwards, play on.
Taken again by Azam. Tackled by Clark, whose captaincy has been tested to the limit here. May flicks the ball wide, perhaps hoping that Narroway might run on for it, but Sharples it was who was sweeping up, and he was gathered in by Geraghty, and Northampton, driving over the ball, think they might have won this back.
Come this way, 30.
The counter surge from the Cherry and Whites was enough. Tom Wood tried to disrupt it. Brown tackled on the 10-metre.
Two men got the ball on their feet. Both men on their feet.
Lawson to Ray Harner. Second half so far has been largely about Gloucester. 75% of the possession,
Yeah.
100% of the scoring. Olivier Azam's tries, Freddie Burns 2 kicks. Tom Wood is about to come off. Phil Dowson is coming on. So the first of Jim Mallander's potential replacements is made in the back row.
Gaps, fellas.
25 minutes to go.
Enter the line, free kick.
Thing you've been talking about over the last couple of weeks, Ben.
It is the scrum
Too
half.
many, man into the
By the
line,
letter of the
mistake
law,
2
has to
metres
stay out until the ball's thrown. You can't start the movement by coming into line. It's got to stay 2 metres away.
This is the new man Dowson, tackled by soon-to-be Bath's Dave Atwood.
Roll away.
Penalty for
Don't stay on the
not
ball, release him.
retreating, having made the hit.
I think at this stage, Northampton have to score before we see another of their big substitutions come on.
Guys, Gloucester are really mixing up their game really well. Brian Ashton will love this. He used to advocate this for England. 2 lines of attack, get your forwards up front, try and hold these interior defenders around the breakdown, and then shift it to your fast guys in the back line. Look, Gloucester have got their entire back line out there ready to go.
For the time being, they're in defensive mode. Captain trying to get the response they crave. Initially through the forwards.
Well, he's telling Azam he's already given the advantage against him, and he kept doing it.
Picked up by Clark. Still held on to by the captain. To make a game of this, you're beginning to think they need to score sooner rather than later. Wood exchanging blows, Narroway involved, Sharman was there as well. It's no more than you'd expect between two teams currently third and fourth in the Aviva Premiership with playoffs on their mind.
Stand up and go away.
Significant news as we sort this melee out. We're hearing from the touchline that the entire Northampton front row is about to be replaced.
So as they come on, if you've got the penalty, do you adopt to go for the scrum with a fresh Tongawear, Hartley and Majati?
1 second. Be careful. Okay, I know, but you've got to be careful.
Penalties against Azam.
Yeah, watch his stop.
He was told to go back.
No,
he's lucky
to
not get a yellow card.
The reason we're having a little delay here is because Brett Sharman is down injured. The three Musketeers seem quite keen to come on. Look like they haven't been fed for about 3 days. They're desperate to enter the fray.
Yeah, it's a penalty, pulling the 9 in and
Majati,
offside by number 2.
Hartley, Tongawear. Oh, look at the face that Hartley's got.
Can we make some changes now?
Of course you can.
The changes are going to be allowed to be made before the scrum.
Wait, what about stoppages on? You're aware that a red head guard was pulled off somebody's head. I
spoke to them both. He had him around the head and he had him around the head, so I've spoken to them both.
Gloucester thought this game was in the bag. They might be having second thoughts the sight of these three coming on.
Player active is 9 and 2 offside. Captain, your decision. Scrum.
And it's as if Kingsholm recognises the challenge that the Saints are throwing down. Listen to the response from the shed and all of those around this fabulous arena.
So a lot of the scrums have been going down tonight. With these three on, expect them to go up. And when they get up, when they get high,
both teams.
That's when Tongawear comes into his own.
Both teams hold.
Much less likely to give away a penalty if you stand up than if it collapses as well.
Yeah.
How tired are Woods, Azam and Doran Jones? They've been on for the best part of an hour now, running around, and now they've got to face a fresh and firing Hartley, Tongawear and Majati.
What stop?
The experience as Azam is keeping them fidgeting. He knows that Northampton 3 are going to try and pile into this. And if he can just put them off their timing, maybe make them go early, get a free kick. And Wood and Azam, as we saw on that shot from above, quite close to each other, not giving Majati much of a hole to get his head in.
Touch! Pause! Early red.
And such was the eagerness of the Cherry and White front row to get involved, that they went too soon.
Both of you. Be careful. Listen to the whistle. Free kick. Scrum. Early engagement red. Really? Yeah.
Gloucester just went slightly early, but then look at that. That's the statement of intent. That's what coming at you this time.
Crouch!
Putting Hartley and Azam together at this stage is a bit like lighting a match next to an open box of fireworks, isn't it? You're just waiting for something to go off.
Engage!
This is the turning point in the game. If they go over here, they're back in it.
Penalty again to Northampton.
I don't think they'll be going for the sticks or the corner. They'll try and get the penalty try.
Came out of the scrum. They're going forward.
The more resets they get, the tireder those guys from Gloucester that have been on the field for 60 minutes will be. and the warmer the front row of Northampton will be.
Trust me that I'll engage it, gents. Crouch! Touch!
Fascinating period of
Pause! Engage!
short of the match today.
Doran Jones done a really good job to keep Tongariro low. Need to be careful that they don't back out of it, Gloucester. Good defence on that occasion, though.
No penalty this time, it's just a regulation reset.
Same again, discipline. Nothing early.
It's Doran Jones against Tongariro, two players who will be in the same dressing room next year.
Well, he won the hit there, Doran Jones. So important against Tongariro. Eventually he got high like he likes to, but Doran Jones kept him low for as long as he could.
Touch! Pause!
So head to head.
It's another strong Northampton scrum, and this time the penalty goes against it. Oh, you'd have thought you'd have won the championship and the Heineken Cup in one go. Has there been a bigger roar at Kingsholm all season?
We said that was the turning point. Watch Wood with number 1 on his back foot for Gloucester. He gets that angle across. Doran Jones does a really good job. Tongariro goes around the outside. And all they wanted to do was create carnage, not give Northampton a platform to settle. They did that with the hit.
Wasn't that great stuff from Dave Atwood as well? A cry of defiance from one, but it was the 8 who have given
For me, 3 came at an angle to
more
cause it
than
to come
anyone
around.
can reasonably expect. And Nick Wood amongst those who will continue to soldier on. We've got Alistair Dickinson on the bench. Rupert Harden as well, the young Australian tight head. So they want to keep Wood on as long as they can.
Watch on, please.
On the fringes of the England setup this season. And they complete the job as Azam finds Brown.
Hold. You're encroaching.
Lawson hoists it, Diggin chases it.
Back off
Sharples was there as well, it went back off Diggin. Snaffled by Dowson. Cummins with a long throw to Geraghty, trying to open up the field. Tonks off his left boot. Straight down the throat of the replacement voice. There's Burns going. He'll chase his own kick. It's probably gone a little bit too far. It gave Geraghty ample time to gather and assess his options. Here goes Diggin, cuts back inside, held up by Atwood. Ansborough, feeling that they were trying to reset the attacking pattern there. It wasn't entirely clear what the plan was. Geraghty. Here goes Clark. Atwood has been prominent over the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, Atwood's been good all game. Really strong game. That's Azangira.
Atwood's prominence will delight and depress Gloucester fans in equal measure. Diggin, tackled by Sharples. Then Narroway was on very hard on Sorensen. Ray Harner to Ansborough. Say it so often, but even at this stage of the season, you can only admire the fitness of the players. And Geraghty suggests that challenging for the line out in Gloucester's 22 is the best option.
Line's yours.
Good Friday, back in the northeast.
Line's yours now,
Don't
fellas.
think it's going to be quiet at Kingston Park. The Falcons against the Tigers the champions, at a venue they rarely enjoy going to.
On the line, I'll give you time.
Falcons, as we know, with absolutely everything to play for.
Watch stop, please. Watch stop.
Changes now in the front row. Nick Wood is coming off. Alistair Dickinson is on. Scott finally back in harness after operation on a long-term shoulder problem.
It's okay, watch it stop. Wheeled our 5 in, fellas.
And Dixon is
Watch on.
preparing to add his own unique acceleration to the game as well. Finds Narroway.
There we go, fellas.
Booted away by Lawson. Over 15 minutes to play.
The defensive fervour of some of the young Gloucester.
Here we are, then.
Oh.
That's just what you want, isn't it? Thanks very much. I'll catch that with a ball above my head. Through my honest Apollo coming in like a missile into my ribcage.
Alex Brown doing the disruption work, drawing the knock on.
Watch stop, please. Yeah. 8. Captain, please, Dixie. Okay.
Yeah, just what's impressed me also, we've known that some of these young guys for Gloucester are good attacking, really bright attacking players, but their defensive effort today has been fantastic. Some of their hits have been going in from Sharples, and Freddie Burns have been up there with some of the hits Ray Harner's been putting in.
A round of applause is a well-deserved one for Luke Narroway. He's been replaced by Brett Deacon. Commons has been replaced by Lee Dixon. Only been on the losing side twice for Northampton this season, in an unfamiliar position. Deacon on for his 99th Premiership appearance. Skippered the club for the first time against his old mates at Leicester last weekend.
Crouch.
Leicester won't need reminding of what sides can do in the last 10 minutes of a match.
Engage.
And Northampton have the penalty.
Just hinged, let him fall on the floor. He hinged and let him fall on the floor. Perfect if you stay straight.
Three's not really much use to them, is it?
Okay, your side?
I was just thinking,
They'll still be more than 2 scores behind.
19-point gap, 15 minutes to go. Getting to the stage where they're thinking finish within 7, and that will be not a bad night's work.
Yeah.
Still a way to go before they're within 7 though. Finding Easter. Not let anyone down today. He started a dozen or so Premiership matches for the Saints. He's on his way to Sale next season. He's filled in well this evening.
It's not coming out there, it's not coming out.
Very serious rocking going on from Callum Clark. Another penalty. If you've ever been following the scuffles and the dust this evening, guarantee that whenever they clear, Olivier Azam will be at the bottom of it.
Side entry and collapse. Side entry and collapse. We carry on.
It was actually Majority's hand that was on him. He's got the tape around his own teammate though. You can't get cited for hitting your own teammate, can you? I know Ben would have liked to have tried on numerous occasions.
They've decided that it is time to take off Olivier Azam and bring on Scott Lawson. Looks slightly bemused by the decision. Still lots of French petrol left in his tank, he reckons, but Carl Haag and Brian Redknapp have decided that now is the time to bring on the Scott Lawson. Big line out though for Hartley. Taken in by Eustace. Gloucester deciding that as soon as Eustace was down, that was the time to defend it, and it was done effectively. Will gather.
Not sure Atwood was behind the back foot there. Got away with it, kept low.
Dixon looking to move things along.
Gloucester players. Not behind the rearmost foot, they're offside. Wayne Barnes misses it.
Geraghty back to Ansborough. Tackle made by Ngera. Geraghty again finds Hartley. Gloucester's defence has been monumental though all match.
And Ngera's been at the heart of it. He has been sensational again.
This is Armstrong. That's the try line to the left. Oh, and they might yet get there. Tonga comes in.
Use it. Take a step.
Gloucester right on the edge here. Right on the edge. Ball's there for Dixon. Geraghty's clapping his hands. He's got it now. Tackle again made by Atwood.
Ball went the wrong way. Callum Clark had a walk in.
Geraghty. Here that he's attracting envious glances from Bree. Time in a Saint shirt might be running out. High time we saw a little bit more of what he could offer. It's another Northampton penalty, but the clock continues to tick. A dozen minutes left. Well, they've taken it quickly. Dixon taken on again by Eustace, but once again the quality of the tackling. Geraghty linking up neatly with Ansborough. Ray Harner. There are still more cherry and white than green and black shirts though. Dixon finally frees the ball. Tonks within 5 metres. Geraghty, ball was flat, not forward. He tried to find Diggin. To take the simple route. Everyone lining up away to the left. Geraghty finds Ray Harner. Ansborough offers himself. Ray Harner backs himself and falls just short. Again, the defence has to be applauded. But again, Northampton within reach of the line, but they've lost possession. But did he ground it?
Jeff Barnes will try next on that.
Oh, big moment coming up. Hartley twisted and turned and stretched.
Oh, he's lost that, has he? Has he lost that on the back of his foot? If he hasn't scored that, if the TMO doesn't give it, this is one of the best periods of defence. He's lost that.
Came off the back of Alex Brown's ankle.
This is one of the best periods of defence all season.
I'm just being told.
It was, but Northampton had 2 opportunities with Menno outside.
Let's hear the roar for the defence.
Yeah, I've got you, mate. Yeah.
Saints still a dozen points short of claiming a losing bonus point. Gloucester still a try short of claiming a full 5 for the victory.
On my engage.
The 4 may yet be enough though. It'll take them 9 points clear of London Irish, who are in 5th place at the moment. Irish against Northampton on Saturday. Season is drawing to a most dramatic of conclusions.
Fellas, ground's turning up, come in. Okay, look, this is well. Long hold, gentlemen, long hold.
Eustace and Mark Sorensen still patrolling Northampton's second row. Courtney Laws remains on the bench. May well remain on the bench. Doran Jones and Tonga. Penalty against Doran Jones and his mates.
Drive came on, player stood up. Scrum.
Unbelievable.
That's the point. Northampton want you to go
Pressure
up.
came on, it came up and then it went
But
down.
because they're so strong up there, they're going forward. If they stand up while they're going forward,
Stay square, hit high.
very difficult for Wayne Barnes to give the penalty the other way.
Crouch. Touch. Pause. Stand up. Both sides hold. No, it's noisy, but you must listen.
Reset, come on!
Northampton have been to Gloucester's 22 8
On my
times
engagement,
and garnered just 8 points. What Gloucester have done. It's got conversion rates.
Crouch. Touch. Pause. Engage.
The shove's on, the ball's loose, Dixon has it, Dixon scores!
Gloucester's, I'm not sure what happened, it got there.
We're going to have a look.
Try us
Ball looked as if it just escaped from the scrum. It went loose and Dixon pounced on it.
It's a try, yes or no, is the call. But I can't see what he can rule on that wasn't allowed. Ball's out there.
It's a try, isn't it?
It's a try.
The TMO can't look at the man being taken off away from the ball, so it's a try.
It's just a good old-fashioned scramble at the base of the scrum, and it worked Northampton's way.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Hope.
Watch on, please.
That's all it is at the moment. But hope it is, with a conversion to come. Now even Shane Garrett is getting in on the act from the kicking tee. And we're within a dozen points now, which perhaps isn't as significant as the potential losing bonus point that Northampton now have within their grasp.
Vital kick-off for Northampton now. They must secure this. Last thing they can afford is to give away 3 points.
This helps them a little bit by going long, and it's taken in by the replacement Dowson. Held up by Johnny May. Garrity to Tonks, who fires off his left boot. This is Freddie Burns. Just over 7 minutes to go. Tantalisingly balanced match. Another try for Gloucester, and they're as good as in the playoffs. 10 points clear of London Irish with 2 games to play. But can they risk opening up and inviting Northampton back in on them? Still so much to think about, so much to play for in the remaining 6 3/4 minutes. Bonus point for Northampton of a losing sense would take them 5 points clear of the Irish, with their big showdown in Reading to come at the weekend. Dixon linking up with Hartley. Majati slugging it to Tonguea. The ball was fine. Dixon. Penalty coming. Rory Lawson was the lazy runner coming back. And we'll have that penalty. Can't imagine that Northampton will do anything else with this but drive it towards the flag.
Well, you say that, but to get back within a bonus point, they took the points here. That's 3. Takes them up to 18. And 3 more. There's plenty of time for 3 more. Would get them the bonus point.
This is how Northampton started the match. So many names in that you wouldn't expect to start a match, but bit by bit they brought in the more familiar ones. And bit by bit, Jim Mallander's boys have hauled themselves back into this. And now they bring on Courtney Laws. And they might not yet have given up on this, you know. If they score a try here, all of a sudden anything is possible. Ball's on for Eustace.
Watch on, please.
I think you have to make the point that Northampton have started this fight back as they emptied the replacements bench.
And that use of the shift drive takes away 3 of Gloucester's defenders. Cancott fighting to stay in the middle of the back. Lismore with the ball.
That is once.
Got one more opportunity with this drive.
Then they'll have to use the ball.
Strokosz has done really well to come through the middle, get his hands on the ball, tie it up, slow it right down.
They'll be careful here that they don't lose possession as, again, Gloucester defend fabulously, dig in the latest to be upended. Into the final 5 minutes. It's been a captivating game. Dixon to Laws, is he to make the grand entry? The ball was there to be taken.
Well, I think that was a penalty to Gloucester, that.
Come on.
Gira had his hands on the ball, he was on his feet.
Hartley. It's the numbers on the backs of the replacements that are now becoming prominent. Dixon to Geraghty, who was on from the start. Ball back inside to Tonks. Hard to go through that route on a number of occasions during the match. It's rarely worked for them, and now they've given away the penalty.
9 on his feet, 9 never cleared out.
Huge defensive effort from the Cherry and Whites.
No one was there to clear him out, 9 was still on the ball.
Burns. Can't find the greatest of distances, but it's safe enough up towards the 10-metre line, and perhaps the last throw of the dice. Ben Foden, a try scorer on Friday nights in Newcastle.
Yeah, I thought his first man there just went straight.
He's replacing young Scott Armstrong. Just over 3 minutes to go. Gloucester with that last monumental defensive effort seen out this game. There's still some work to do, you sense, as Strokosz gathered the line out.
Just a maul to run down the clock, isn't it?
Burns runs half through Geraghty, but then loses possession. What can Saints make of this? Ansborough again runs into a Gloucester pincer. Dixon, Geraghty fires the ball beyond Laws and Easter. Here goes Tonga. A try to rescue a losing bonus point, and I think they might have taken that at the start of the evening.
Again, Gloucester defensive line very near to being offside.
This next couple of minutes may well be as much about where they go, these two, in the playoff semi-finals. Who fancies a trip to Leicester? Who fancies a trip to Saracens? A lot of assumptions being made here. But this is significant, make no mistake. Match looks like it's been won by Gloucester, but it's about the bonus points now and the tiny moments. Dixon to Rayhana. Do they have one last burst in them? They did against Newcastle on Friday. They left it late then, but the man who scored that night, Ashton, isn't with us this evening. Instead, it's his old mucker digging.
Advantage, 3.
Oh, he's there!
Time off.
And it's another television match official decision, but it does look as if Tonga may have rescued a point from the fire.
There's no one more dangerous at picking the ball from the back of a maul when everyone's expecting the scrum half to take it.
I think he's lost that one as well, hasn't he?
Definitely had lost it.
Lost it
at
before
one point as he was
down.
going over the line.
What's the decision?
It's
Yeah,
whether
what's the decision?
The hand and the arm are in touch as it presses down.
This is the only angle we've got because the post is blocking the view from the other side, but I'm
Really easy.
not sure we need another angle.
Just stayed on the ball, so it'd be a penalty against you if not. Okay, I just thought you made the tackle, stayed on it. It'll just come away.
Confirmation from Wayne Barnes that whatever, if this isn't a try, there will still be the penalty against Gloucester. One of the more significant decisions that Jeff Warren has had to make this season.
Just to the left of the left-hand post. It bounced up.
They're not going back that far.
I think his hand slid off it just before it gets to the ground. But it's so similar actually to last week. Leicester Tigers against Gloucester. Leicester had the game won, 7 points ahead, and they show naivety at half-back by playing some rugby. And it's exactly the same here. Freddie Burns has run the ball out from his own 22, got turned over and given Northampton the opportunity to get a bonus point. It's just that experience.
So Arnie Tongaweer is doing his best to suggest that he has scored the try. I think we have seen that there is more than enough room for doubt.
Yeah, great. Okay, Brett.
And that's the view of Jeff Warren in our trucks.
No try.
But it is a penalty to Northampton, and they have a chance at a scrum on the 5-metre line.
So penalty number 3 never released. They've taken a scrum option.
So the significance of this potential losing bonus point is that it would take the Saints 5 points clear of Irish with
nice and square.
2 games to
Nice
play.
and square, don't hinge.
Northampton with the Irish on Saturday, and then home to Leeds on May the 7th, the final day.
Pause. Engage.
Once again, it's come to the final minute of the match, and once again it's a penalty.
What happened there? Gloucester just wheeled out, just
Number
walked
3
backwards
went
and
straight
round.
across. It was the same
You've
as
got
a
to push forward to spin it round.
Take your hands down. Watch, stop. Penalty 3, stay square, same as a penalty against Sem over there. Scrum.
30 seconds to go.
Both of you hold, stay square, you fold it
Lucy
in.
and Guerra is still up for the fight.
Not head on head, go in the gap, not head on head.
Players that we'll see playing for Fiji at the World Cup in the autumn. That's a long way from his mind at the moment. Gloucester's defensive effort has been such that they will give everything to keep the Saints out here.
Superb by Doran Jones.
Easter to Dixon, this is Foden, and he's been snagged by Eliota Fuimana-Sapolu. So often about what he does in attack. On that occasion it was defence, but another penalty with 2 seconds to go.
I think Brett Deacon's unlucky here.
A ruck was formed.
He makes the
Number
tackle.
20 picks it up. A ruck was formed.
Gets back to his feet. He felt his hands were on the ball. The referee thought the ruck was already formed.
The scrum's the decision.
Stay your side. It's okay this side.
Well, Brian Redpath now knows that the win is not in doubt.
Don't off step, there's a mark.
It would be the perfect evening though if they could deny Northampton anything.
There's a mark, come to the right of it. Don't move. Crouch.
I think Gloucester and their supporters can start to look forward to the playoffs.
Pause. Engage.
Can Northampton take a significant step towards it by scoring off this last play of the match? Ansborough finds Geraghty. Foden was up in support, Diggins beyond him, but Sharples made the tackle. The ball is loose. Gloucester's defence, as it has been all match, remains suffocating. Easter takes the ball into contact. Dixon to Rayhana. This is Ansborough. Tongaweer's outside. It's a long way to go. Even for Tongaweer. Hartley keeps the move alive, though. Geraghty. Gathered in by Sorensen, but again they're driven back, bouncing off the cherry and white wall. And Wayne Barnes was in the way. And they'll come back for the scrum. Oh, this has got echoes of Arsenal-Liverpool on Sunday. 10 minutes of injury time.
Well, that's it. Usually a scrum would be the end of the match. Wayne Barnes ruling that it hit me. I think he could have carried on playing. Hartley had the ball again.
Let's hope Brian Redpath and Jim Malander don't create that Dalglish-Wenger moment that we all enjoyed.
Yeah, Kuska. What?
Far too well brought up, I think, for any of that kind of nonsense. Substitution. Freddie Burns is coming off. Henry Trinder is on, as is Rupert Harden. Harden on to replace Paul Doran-Jones. Now, how ironic it would be, Ben, if they scored off this with the ball having hit the referee, because ordinarily the match might be over by now. But as it is, Northampton have one final opportunity.
I think it's the right decision.
Touch. Pause. Engage.
Instead, though, of being 5 metres from the line, they're on the 22. Easter to Dixon. It might give them a bit more room to play with. This is Foden. Tackle needed to be made, and it was by the replacement Trinder. The shed knows what's at stake here, and so does every Saints fan watching on. Foden to Geraghty to Reihana. Oh, and Sharples was up quickly. And again, Fuimana Sapolo up quickly to regain his place in the defensive line. Gloucester think they might have won this back. It's absolutely ferocious battle for the ball. Geraghty taken on by Armstrong. Dixon again to Geraghty. Oh, and then the ball has been intercepted, and that will be the end of the match. And Gloucester, as great as they were scoring tries, might put that one down to heroic defence in the second half. Even when the Saints cavalry was whistled off the bench, the cherry and white still had what it takes. Mathematicians will tell them they're not yet in the playoffs. Realists will tell them that they absolutely are.
Well, the reason they are is because when they play here, this is a fortress. They defended that try line, put their bodies on the line to every man in that side, and they may go on their travels and concede lots of points, but you come to King's Own and you say, well, you do not cross our line, and that is what is going to carry them through to the playoffs, I think.
Yeah, it's a really brave performance by Northampton. Turned up, were good in the first 20. They just lost it in that middle sort of period of the game, and the Gloucester attacking play in the first half was sublime, but the same players, those attacking players, the likes of Freddie Burns, Sharples in the second half, their defensive effort huge.
Well, Mike Tyndall will play no part in whatever the rest of the season has to offer Gloucester, but he will have recognised a fabulous performance from all of his players, not least the youngsters. Freddie Burns marshalled the troops fabulously. Sharples scored another try, his 11th in 11 matches, and that means, as we look at the Aviva Premiership table, that Gloucester have cemented their place in third position. Northampton stay fourth, but the key points difference is that between the Irish and Gloucester. It's now 9 points with 2 games to go. I think we can say that Gloucester will be in the end of season jamboree once the final calculations are done, and we can go and talk to a couple of Gloucester's cherry and white heroes who are with Sarah.
Thanks, Nick.
How well they played, how well they all played. I'm not sure when the season started Gloucester thought that they could get into the playoffs, but that's where they're heading. They go to Vicarage Road on Sunday in the regular season, and it looks now for all the world as if it may well be Saracens away in the playoffs in 3 or 4 weeks' time. But it's a big, big win. No points for the Saints tonight. All the glory goes to Gloucester, and we'll be wrapping it all up with Brian Ashton and the boys after the break.